you is child's play. I'm not OP, try and nerf me right, try it and you'll see. Here I stand, riven, left upon the battlefield, broken like the sword I wield. Valor is the only shield, mend my broken wings. Broken like the sword I wield, valor is the only shield, mend my broken will. Left upon the battlefield, broken like the sword I wield, valor is the only shield, mend my broken wings. Chaos, light and darkness, all things must exist in harmony. There's only one who has the power to save us. His name is Kenan and he fights for me. He's a ninja, he's a ninja, he's a ninja, he's a ninja. Better believe, Kenan be set free, set free. At the tempest is your destiny. Electricity to get your killing spree. A storm is coming and it's called to by Kenan. Harness the power, now it's time to strike. From the shadows, final moments approaching. A single flash and your heart will ignite. can be set free. Heart of the tempest is your destiny. Electricity is the key to get your killing spree. Can it be set free? I choose you, Pikachu, purple chew, and your shuriken ninjutsu. She's such a misfit, always ready to brawl. It's like her business, roughing up your friends is the law. There is no
20 minutes for them,
if you believe you're strong. She's a bulldozer, making sure you're flat on the ground. She's like a
All right, everybody, welcome. We are beginning week number 1 of the Crunch Time Infinity League playoffs. We've got our game between our number 1 seed of Glacial eSports Black going up against the number 4 seed of Stunned Gaming. Stunned Gaming coming off huge momentum, Shy, as they won out their tiebreaker series against, I believe it was Albania Avengers and Miami University. We had like a 3-way tie for that number 4 seed in the Group A. So Stun winning out both those games against both teams to make it into our playoff bracket here today. I'm excited to get forward and out on the Rift. It feels like it's been forever.
I know these weeks are too far apart. I was excited. Sadly, we could not stream the games with Miami and Albania Ventures versus Stunned Eclipse. But we are going to definitely talk about the results here. So in game 1, it was Stunned versus Albanian Avengers. We had some, pretty standard comps for both of these teams. With Stunned opting for the Cassante, Jarvan, Oriana, Zaya, and Nautilus, looking like it was, copied from a world stage, So, and then in the second game, they also ran pretty much the same comp, except for they had Braum instead of the Nautilus, and they had Wukong instead of the J4. But yeah, I was not expecting Stun to win both of those games right out, especially after losing 2-0 to Miami University, and then suddenly coming back and beating them for the best of 1, locking their spot in, and now going to be facing off against Glacial in the quarterfinals? It's quarterfinals, right? Not semifinals.
And then next week will be semis. Actually, you know what? In order to get rid of all that confusion, I believe production is telling us that we have a playoff bracket scene. So I think we could go ahead and throw it on over to that. And I think the mix-up has been worked out in regards to that. So that's should be resolved. Then I believe we have Albanian Avengers, or not Albanian, Oxford's going up against Akuma Blades, the number 3 and number 2 seed. Should be a pretty good game over there on the other side of Group A. And then our number 1 seed in Group B of Cupid Esports, I believe that's Cupid Esports Blue, will be playing against Contingent later today. So I don't know what you're thinking, but we might have a Cupid v Cupid semifinals next week.
It is definitely possible, and I'd be very excited if that was to happen. Constantly having Cupid Red be streamed. We really wanted to see Cupid Blue. The times that we were going to try to stream them, there was always, some sort of rescheduling, so sadly could not stream any of their games, but I'd be very excited. Cupid Esports Blue also being the only other undefeated team besides Glacial in crunch time so far, so we will see how these games go today. And I believe for Cupid Red versus Failsafe, so far I think because of some time delays, mismatching, stuff like that, IBD Esports Red is up 1-0 just because of how the rules work. So yeah, and then the other games that we have today, Oxford versus Akuma. Excited for that one too. I was hoping that one would be streamed as well, but we can't stream all of the games sadly. So from now on, we're going to be streaming, the semifinals and then the grand finals. So now let's switch it over to champions for the current moment. Any champions you are looking to see today? Any strong picks, in your solo queue? What are you looking to see today, Sandro?
I mean, nothing has really changed, to be honest. Everything in the meta is still kind of the same. Nothing has changed. Casante's back, so he'll probably be back in the top lane today, picked from somebody. I mean, you can't let that champion go free. You either ban it or you pick it. Other than that, I mean, mid lane is still the same. Jungle is still the same. Bot lane, I apparently lethality Caitlyn's nerfed, but I don't really think it's that much of a hindrance, to be honest. I still see it do massive amounts of damage in solo queue, so I'm not expecting much different, really. We haven't really had a patch that screams, "Oh, this is going to change the meta" just yet. I mean, last week we had Stun whipping out the Wukong here and there, as well as the Jarvan from Vertigo. So very heavy aggressive junglers there. Alpha was Alphexus. It was on the Casante both games, as we expected. So that champ, I mean, you either pick it or you ban it. Same thing with Orianna. You either pick it or you ban it. So I'm gonna be expecting a lot of the same things in that regard to be coming out. And yeah, no, we really haven't had anything that just changes the flow of the game so far just yet.
Yeah, I still feel like we're gonna probably see that Jarvan, constantly being up for grabs. They could pick a ban basically right now in the meta, being super strong. Always kind of pick ban in Worlds right now. Everyone's playing it in the higher elo tiers. Something that I was thinking was interesting was the game that we streamed last week. We had the mid laner play Talia both games. I'm wondering if Stunned Eclipse is going to have an answer for the Talia. She doesn't have she's pretty good because of her massive wave clear and the fact that she is a very good roaming mid laner. But I'm wondering if Stunned is going to have an answer for this Talia. What do you think?
I mean, not really much you can answer to the Talia. You can match the wave clear, which is what Victor, Syndra, Orianna, they all can do that as well. You can even run the Silas and just roam Silas or Akali. They can also perma roam as well and match it. But I mean, she's just overall Talia's in the best spot she's ever been right now. And it's like she's like the perfect mid laner, aside from Orianna, obviously. Because I mean, she's got the movement speed for roaming, she's got a global ultimate, she's got CC chain knockup, burst damage, like she's got everything. There's not really much you can do to stop it except for to counter farm and force her under her tower. So running something like the Victor or the Orianna to be shove her out faster than she can shove you, and you can get roam timers in your out of your mid lane faster than she can get roam timers. That's basically the game plan. Force her to stay in her mid lane. That's how you basically shut her down. Other than that, it's going to be really. There's really not really much you can do to shut down the Talia.
Yeah.
SlyLego, though, on the side of Glacial, constantly plays these engage supports, which are really, really strong right now, as we know. Also, it could be extremely tanky. So I think we're going to see a lot of plays coming off him and how he can set up Silva on this potentially Zaya or Kaisa, which we've seen back and forth coming out of him. So I think SlyLego is going to be a huge, huge key factor in their game plan for today.
Yeah, so we're about to throw it over to our draft phase coming up here very, very shortly. Both teams are about to be ready and ready to go. Any must bans for you, Cilantro? Do you think anything's going to be like perma ban for the series?
I mean, yeah, you're obvious. You either pick or ban Orianna or Casante, pick or ban Jinx. potentially pick or ban Syndra, stuff like that. In the jungle, you don't really need to pick or ban anything. Nothing in the jungle is astronomically, if I pick this, I win the game. So it's going to probably be a toss-up between both teams on Maokai and Jarvan / some other form of engaged jungler versus some form of safe jungler. Like Sedge is still really good. We could even see Ivern come out. Ivern is not horrible right now still. Wukong can come out as well, so stuff like that. So nothing in the jungle is really going to be pick or ban, in my opinion. Top lane, like I said, K'Sante, maybe even Renekton, pick or ban. Maybe you can make an argument for Jax or Aatrox, but I feel like they're pretty niche. You can shut them down. Rumble isn't as pick or ban as he used to be, but still a very strong option. And in the support lane, I mean, support is just extremely viable right now. You've got Alistar, Thresh, Nautilus, Rel. You can even run something like a Kate Lux lane. Braum, very viable. So that's not really much you're going to be able to pick or ban there. But we're just going to go ahead and throw it on over to the draft because I believe both teams are ready now. And we're about to get underway. As Stun Eclipse has the blue side and Glacial has the red side.
Yeah, another one of those support picks. I feel like a lot of supports are pretty viable in the meta right now. Something we've seen a lot in Worlds, and we saw in if we looked at the results for Miami versus Stun Eclipse last week. Not yeah. So for their last match, the 2-0 for Miami, they ran Renata both times, who has been a really strong pick, especially on the Worlds stage. And
there's the Akali ban. Yep, that's actually very not good for the side of Stun because if they want, like I mentioned earlier, if they want to be able to match this roam timing from the Talia, Akali is one of the ones that does it best. So, but then again, you don't want to give over the Akali to KiteAzure either because then you put him onto a hard carry in which he doesn't even have to roam. He can, well, I mean, Akali does roam, but he doesn't even have to like rely solely on his roams. He could just scale with the Akali damage and absolutely be devastating for this backline. Top lane bans coming out. Shen seems like a pretty common ban a little bit lately. I've seen him not too much of a spike in competitive play, but in the games that I've been watching recently, he has gotten some bans here and there. And then Darius just an overall strong pick, I believe, coming out from the top laner of Alphexus.
Yeah, with the Shen ban, you have to always fear that, if you're fighting 2v2, that can be a 3v2 really quickly, especially with that huge shield.
Right. Passive
Very
shield.
dangerous. Yeah, not even the passive shield, the ult shield I'm talking about, but some mid lane bans coming out here. The Nico and the Syndra both very, very strong right now. No Orianna ban, maybe a Jinx ban. I think, they might take this Orianna, they might not. Orianna is not as pick ban. They might, just take Orianna and then leave Glacial to take the Talia, but we will see with the first pick here. I don't think they'll first pick a mid laner, but
I mean, if you're going to, you first pick Orianna. Like, honestly, Glacial, they got caught in the predicament. They either then they take Orianna. You get caught in this predicament, sadly, where you either R1 or R3 ban out Jinx or Orianna here, which is why, I mean, I think they could have left the Nico open. I haven't seen it too much out of Stun Eclipse's mid laner, but I think they could have left that open and instead opted for an Orianna ban. But that's getting to be, I mean, you have to take that if you're stunned. They ban out Jinx, which is a very common B1. Syndra, a very common play into the Orianna. So you just pick the Orianna, and that should be a Talia over the side of Glacial as in response. But they're going to go ahead and take the Rakan. Interesting to see that they're not going to opt for Xayah here. They're going to go ahead and go for the Jarvan. This is locking down a very strong engage comp, but also opens up the opportunity for Stun Eclipse to take this Xayah away.
Yeah, and I think the most important thing about those two picks is not the fact that they wanted these two picks like necessarily for like going for an engage comp. I think they're taking these two especially because these are the two best deliverers of that Orianna ulti. They put the ball on the Rakan or the Jarvan, and they can easily get a Orianna ult onto at least 3 or 4 members of the other team. But yeah, like you predicted, they're going to take up the Xayah, and we're going to see another pick here. But with the R1, I feel like they could have gone with a flex pick like the Rel, but Orianna also very, very, very strong first pick not have any strong weaknesses, especially early on. She's a very heavy poke, very strong mid game, and very strong late game. She doesn't really have any weaknesses that are too apparent as they lock in the Alistar to answer the Rakan of Glacial. What do you think about that, Sandra?
All-Star pick is absolutely huge. Honestly, Stun, if you're drafting, this is your pick of the game right now because that shuts down Glacial's entire comp that they want to run here. I was expecting something like the Kaisa to come out with the Rakan as well, but then now you have triple engage into an Alistar. Not really something you want to do, but it's looking like they might want to opt for the Silas and just all-in engage anyway. Alistar really good at denying heavy dive potential, but it's looking like with the Silas Rakan, they can look to potentially displace this Alistar. You know, if Rakan dashes in and lands a charm, it's going to allow for Silas and Jarvan to have way more easier lanes of engagement. So it's going to be really coming down to the support 1v1 to see who can deny the team fights, both really strong at what they want to do in terms of counter dive / engage. So I think I would expect the Kaisa to come out from Glacials. They haven't picked their 80 carry just yet. But however, Stun could ban out the Kaisa here, and then potentially ban out something like, yep, that's going to come out. And then you could ban out something like the Tristana, who's also very heavy dive engage. Or even, I don't know, maybe the Zeri as well. You could ban out those who want to potentially go in and team fight as well, and force him onto something like the Ezreal or the Caitlyn, and some things that aren't as strong in the team fights, and that can also be taken down very easily if they get like an Orianna ball on them or Xayah feathers or something.
Yeah, I was going to say first Stunned, I would love to see that Poppy pick, especially into this team. All three of them having dashes, but that's going to be the last ban for Glacial. So what we're going to see now is Stunned going to double down on the peel because they already have enough damage with the Xayah and Orianna. They don't really need that much more damage out of their top laner and the jungler. But the Maokai is still up, and I feel like Maokai would be very strong with this comp, especially with the ability to peel and engage for his team. But we will see as Glacial is going to lock in their R4 pick. And we're going to see. What does it tell us? It's going to be the Ashe.
A horrible pick. You can slow down the engage potential from Stun. They don't have too much engage right now, as they're a little bit more counter dive and self sustain. But like you mentioned, Maokai's on the board, but so is Sejuani. And honestly, I think Sejuani against this Ashe wouldn't be horrible. Okay, but they're going to go ahead and lock down the Wukong, get a little bit more damage. I don't think that this is leading me to believe that they're going to have a very heavy front line because top laner. And of course, who does that better than K'Sante? And with Jack's ban, I feel like you have to lead a bit more towards something like the Renekton, maybe the Gwen, or potentially even an R. Decent picks in the top side against the K'Sante. But dialing back to this Wukong, another just very strong engage. Also counter dive. If Jarvan was looking to go in with Silas, he could literally just press R on top of his own team and knock up all the members that have dove onto his team. So it's also acts as really good peel. Speaking of peel, they're going to go ahead and lock the Ornn coming out from Glacial. That very heavy, just frontline, sit there, has a great ultimate for engage as well. And I mean, both these teams looking to go at it back and forth so far.
Yeah, that's my initial thought when seeing both these teams together is that these team fights are going to go the distance. We have a lot of healing, a lot of shielding. You know, this is two very, very tanky teams. You wouldn't think Silas is too tanky, but you know, after he gets a few items online, he's going to have over 3k HP, and to be able to heal all of that back with this full combo, this is going to be an interesting match. Both these teams having really, really good engage and disengage options. You know, Ornn ultimate, you have Ashe ultimate. And on the side of Stunned, you have the Alistar for the peel, you have Orianna Ball, you have the Xayah, and you have the Wukong for the engage. You also have K'Sante, you can take out one of the members of Glacial. So with that in mind, who do you have favored with the team comp right now?
Honestly, I think these teams are going to be extremely evenly matched. Like, it's really hard to say. We're going to have to get onto the Rift and figure out like how the game's going to go macro wise, because on paper right now, these teams are neck and neck. I mean, Silas has a ton of ultimates he can steal with Alistar, Wukong, and Orianna. Actually, can he proc the Orianna ball? No, because he doesn't have a ball, so he can't proc the
Yeah,
Oriana.
he can ult. It would just ult on
It
top
ults
of
on
him.
top of himself, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not that bad of ult combos for Silas, but then again, it also very good self-sustain and peel from stun, but not horrible peel so far from Glacial. But Glacial, once they get on top of you, they want to force fights, whereas stun they can kite out a bit and then re-engage. So
Yeah.
honestly, I can't pick until we get out onto the Rift. If I had to say in terms of champions I like watching, I prefer more of Stuns comp. I like Stuns
Yeah.
comp in terms of like champions that I enjoy watching myself, and champions that I think are extremely good right now. So I would prefer Stuns comp.
Yeah, I also really like Stun's comp. If I was the mid laner for Stunned pulling out this Oriana, I would do what, watching Worlds, gets us all excited. What Faker did in game 1 versus LNG is he pulled out the Oriana, and his build was that he went Crown of Shattered Queen into Banshee's Veil, knowing that he didn't have to beat all the damage for his team. Do you think that we will get the same build today? Or you think he's just gonna go straight damage on the Oriana?
No. I think that while I think Faker is a genius, and honestly, if you were the mid laner stunned, you could pull it off. Like you've got Cassante, you've got Wukong, and you got Xayah. You don't need to be that frontline damage. You don't need to be that force of damage. But going up against when your ultimate is and you like throwing your ball at your teammates is one of your primary forms of engage / counter dive. I think having the Ludens or Leandries is just going to be a lot better here as a support item, because if you could pull in 3 members, you A, shut down their engagement, and then B, either burst them down or start ticking them with burn damage. That's going to proc over time, allowing your Wukong and Xayah to be able to just go in and put down even more amounts of damage. So I think that it's going to be a damage build out of the Oriana here. While I don't think she needs to be one of the best forms of DPS, I think that it's going to be necessary in the long run when it comes to against the tanky scaling on the side of Glacial.
Yeah, this is just a very scary game for Oriana. Xayah can pretty much self-peel after that Jarvan, cataclysms her. She has the ultimate to be able to get out. She has the ultimate to be able to dodge the Ornn ult or the Ashe ult. But Oriana doesn't really have many of those options. She's kind of stuck after she uses her abilities to be, left up to be CC'd. So that's the only reason why I think that might be, a good play this game, just because of the hard engage. She wouldn't die immediately if they dove onto her. But yeah, we're just waiting on the game to officially get started. We have a spectator delay. We're going to hold on. What time are we at, Cilantro? Yeah, so we're going to throw it to a short intermission while we wait to load into the Rift. See you guys in a minute.
She fell from the stars right into my heart. She took me by surprise. Her hair draped like silk, the power to tilt with passion in her eyes. Tú sabes muy bien que te quiero, mi corazón es en fuego. Yo quiero tu beso y abrazo, para ti yo canto. She's an ambulance, she's an ambulance. Just like Sonic, yeah, she's going fast. She's an ambulance, she's an ambulance. The white major league and she cures all her pain. Her eyes show salvation, her body temptation, magic gathering in her hand. She calls to the stars. falls from afar, who wishes a cryptic command. Tú sabes muy bien que te quiero, mi corazón es en fuego. Yo quiero tu beso y abrazo, para ti yo canto. She's an ambulance, just like Sonic, yeah, she's going fast. She's an ambulance, the white major league, and she cures all her friends. Her name is Soraka, got legs of Igaro. She's hot like sriracha, one spicy muchacho. With all like banana, and lips like maracas. Hasta mañana, mi amor, Soraka. She's an ambulance, just like Sonic, yeah, she's going fast. She's an ambulance, the white major league, and she cures all her friends. She's an ambulance, just like Sonic, yeah, she's going fast. She's an ambulance, the white major league, and she cures all her friends.
All right, everybody, and welcome out to the Rift. We got the 5-point connect the dots happening in the river so far. Nobody looking for any invades, but that's fine. Ooh, a little bit of an E damage onto this Wukong. But so far, pretty standard. Everything from both sides. Nothing really screaming out to me that's a little bit nonchalant. But no invades coming out, and it's looking like actually that stun is going to get probably a ward in this top side.
Yeah, looking for just a little bit of vision for this early, trying to get a read on this Jarvan. Probably just going to put it right in front of the Raptor camp just to see if he's going to clear down or if he's clearing up. You'll definitely see him. And he gets spotted here and he clears it.
Most importantly, though, what that tells you is that both these junglers are going for mirrored clears right now. Actually, K'Sante is pushing in, but potentially get something onto JOONHAHA, but Leoto is going to be down and able to peel, as well as KiteAzure. But yeah, we have mirrored clears coming out so far, as the chains are going to land, get a little bit of poke damage, which is going to happen in this mid lane. They're going to go back and forth, but both of these junglers looking to get an early advantage in their bot lanes.
Yep, mid lane looking like some early trading happening. Not much going on so far besides that early mid trade. Kind of standard, the range support bot lane. Do you know if Rakan's technically ranged or is he melee? I feel like he's just a very, very long range melee. But
yeah, he's technically melee, but he does have the Q that is long range.
Yeah, his melee range is a little long for a melee, but he's going to have the level 2 advantage in the bot lane. Not much else happening here. I do want to shout out the fact that K'Sante does, in fact, have the Ghost, which I feel like is an interesting pick here for the top lane, not opting for the flash, instead trying to run down probably the carries of Glacial in these later fights. It's just an interesting interesting sum to take, especially in K'Sante. You don't really see the Ghost too often. It's more like on the Olaf or Darius.
I actually really like the Ghost pick here, as a full engage comes out from KiteAzure. He's going to pop mid-cool down to a quarter of HP, is going to force him to use those potions. But like I said, I really like the Ghost here because it allows him to get a little bit more aggressive flank angles and just jump in and surprise onto Silva and SlyLego. SlyLego going to have a little bit more POS. The level up is actually going to end up saving KiteAzure there. Almost punished with a little bit of a dive under the tower. But yeah, this Cassante is going to be an absolute menace running around the map with Ghost. So I feel like it's going to be a lot stronger than we may think, as both junglers are going to be finishing up their clear here. And it's looking like JOONHAHA is going to have a bit of an advantage moving into this bot scuttle, as his bot lane is shoved out and they can move up to assist with the bug.
Yep, so still not much, in terms of like the macro thing, just because it's so early. We have just some early trades. Cassante getting the better of the Ornn here. Cassante getting the push in as well. We might see an invade from the Jarvan here. There's no camps to get. We might see a little finagling down here. Maybe even a dive. Nope, just going to back after saying there's no camps available. After getting that bot scuttle, Wukong's probably just going to take this top scuttle. And I don't think they're going to look for anything top unless this Ornn gets pretty low. But, yeah, Wukong getting top scuttle, Jarvan getting bot scuttle. Pretty even on the CS for the junglers. Having the exact same items as well. Probably going to build similar for the first half of the game. Silas taking the Dark Seal as well, I think, is interesting this early on.
Just a little bit of extra AP. It's going to help out with the team fights later on. I'm expecting him to potentially build into like the Night Harvester or the Everfrost, typical Silas builds we see. Nice levels up start coming out from both mid laners, but KiteAzure is actually a little low. Might want to play this a little bit safer than he is, as Midcool is going for the engage. It's going to end up flashing, but KiteAzure is able to turn that around, looking like a 1-for-1, as JOONHAHA is going to end up getting that kill. But the dragon is on the board. Neither mid laners are alive, but right now it's looking like Glacial has the bot lane advantage. And as I say that, SlyLego almost gets caught out, but is able to dash away.
Rakan almost getting caught out there with the Alistar having that really good headbutt on the Rakan not being able to dash out in time, but able to get out with only taking one turret shot. Not bad, as you see a little bit more damage having it onto this Ashe. Orianna already having built the Merc Treads as well. That's their first pickup, which I feel like is something we also see from from Faker from time to time in these laning phases, especially when there's a lot of CC on the enemy team, picking up those boosts first rather than going all the damage. Orianna more looking for, getting that level 6 online rather than, more damage in the early game. Also helps out with, even with trading, because if you're faster than your opponent, then it makes it easier for you to trade.
Shockwave is online. We're going to see when Midcool decides to pull the trigger on that. He has no sums, but neither does KiteAzure. And it's looking like Vertigo wants to potentially go for this dragon. No vision so far on the enemy bot lane of Glacial, as a nice knockup's going to come down. And AwkTofu is a little bit low. He's got to play this a little bit careful, but Wukong's coming in from the river. Not level 6 yet. Flash is going to come out from Silva, and they're able to just kite this away as SlyLego commits the heal. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Jarvan has roamed up. It's looking like they might want to take a potential 4v4 in this bot lane if JOONHAHA decides to roam down there. One of these two teams is looking for Dragon Prio.
Yeah, we might see a dragon. We might not. I don't think. I think Jarvan is just hovering in case this bot lane decides to go in. But we might see, now that the Xayah is backed, almost getting a kill there mid.
Yep, 2 shockwaves came out in the mid lane. Neither one of these mid laners having the flashes up. Midcool has to play this a little bit careful, as the W for the Silas is going to put him at an advantage in this team fight. And in the meanwhile, the dragon has started, and with the mid laner of Sun Eclipse gone, this is looking pretty free for Glacial. But Wukong, not level 6 just yet, has potential vision on it, and AwkTofu has moved up as well. They're looking to not give this for free. The ADC from Glacial is not there. Headbutt's going to come down onto SlyLego. He's looking for a knockup. It's actually going to get dodged from the Wukong W, and they're looking to potentially get this dragon, but no! They do get it! The Cataclysm is going to come down as Cyrus runs down as well. They're going to looking for one pick, but the Mukau is able to flash over the wall as the side gets there, and a nice steal re-engage from Stunned Eclipse as they take the first dragon of the game.
Yeah, Alistar stealing that dragon, went down to 7 HP, coming in, getting the dragon for his team, outsmiting both the junglers. Mukau for the win. Huge wave coming in for this bot lane. Midcool, after losing that fight, it was not looking good for his team, but somehow getting that drag in the end. Now going to be a little bit stronger with that tier, but Silas is going to have a lot more damage, having a lot more gold than this Oriana, having some Dark Seal stacks now on top of getting the Lost Chapter. A lot more ahead here as we see an engage, possibly from the Alistar.
And we're going to see if SlyLego lands the knock-up this time. No empowered autos from the Ashe just yet. But in the meanwhile, top side, it's looking like Vertigo wants to play for this Rift Herald. He does have top prio as Cassante is shoved in, but he does not have the mid prio. And this allows KiteAzure to be able to zone out the monkey main a little bit longer and buy time for JOONHAHA to potentially roam or clear his way towards this Rift Herald. Don't know if he does have a kill over the Wukong and a little bit of a CS lead. So I believe in the 2v2 right now, with that Lost Chapter coming out from Silas, they can potentially win versus the Wukong, but I don't think so against this Cassante. So it's going to be crucial on how Leoto plays this when it comes to this Rift Herald prio.
And Cassante, the tank mage assassin, he does it all. The support, very, very strong right now.
Nice knockup's going to come out from Tofu. Stun's going to land onto the Ashe. Ignite's going to be committed as well. But the feathers are going to fly as the knockup's going to end up missing from SlyLego. And it's looking like a potential bot lane trade as the Ornal is committed in the top side. It's going to land on the Cassante just trying to live here. Cassante does commit the ghost, but the flash is going to come out from Leoto. Everything used in this top side, everything used in this bot side. He's going to cancel the back. No, he is! And he's actually going to get the kill himself. Little bit of a support diff there. So far, support Stunned Eclipse killing the support of Glacial, and in the meantime, the Rift Herald will fall in favor of Stunned Eclipse.
Yet we get nothing happening in the first couple minutes of this game, and then all of a sudden everybody decides to fight at the same time. We cannot keep track of all of the map at the same time. There's only one camera that we can watch, so Alistar coming up huge with getting that kill. Trying to give it to Xayah, but he said, all right, time for me to get me mallet.
Yep, not much going to happen. Or actually might end up getting caught out here. Actually, maybe turning this onto Alf. Alf doesn't have the ghost. Oh, the Ashe is going to land. It's looking like it's going to land onto the Xayah. She does not have the feathers, so it's going to be hard for her to get out. And here comes the Recon, but in the meanwhile, topside's looking in favor of the Ord. Knockup's going to end up landing on the Wukong, but he has the ultimate for a little bit of disengage, and the Mukau's going to land a double knockup. Xayah has trying to get the feathers flying. Cataclysm is going to end up landing onto two members, and that's going to be Vertigo falling. They're looking for potentially more, but they don't have a wave shoved under, as Stunned amazingly shoved out the wave. And here comes Midcool. He's got the shockwave, but he's going to get the kill onto SlyLego first, and that's a kill for the Xayah onto Silva. And not really having the disengage so far was Glacial eSports, and Stun turning that one back around. And with Dragon spawning here very soon, it's not looking very good for you if you're Glacial.
Yeah, excellent roam there from Midcool coming down to help clean up, getting the kill there. It was looking pretty bad for Stunned, but they did not get the Cataclysm onto the Xayah, which I feel like was a big mistake there. Xayah just being able to rain damage down, them going pretty low, not being able to get out before, backup arrived. The boys rolled up. As we see, Rakan might be going in for a gank here on Midcool.
Yep, chains are going to end up landing, but the shockwave pulls both of them under the tower. Poseidon responds with a shockwave of his own. Both the members are low on the side of Glacial as Rakan is forced to use his ultimate to get out of that, and the chains are going to get flashed from Midcool. No sums in this mid lane, as only KiteAzure has his sums. Vertigo not having the ultimate online just yet, but looking for some type of cleanup. Dragon should be up here in the next 20 seconds, so this is going to be crucial. It's a nice splash from KiteAzure, but the Mukau was there, and he headbutts the Silas under the tower. An absolute insane play from Tofu. Re-engages in the mid lane to save his Oriana. It's looking like Faker and Carry on the side of Stunned Eclipse as Mukau says, "You are not killing my mid laner."
Yeah, definitely looking like a strong MVP target. Tofu winning the game for his team, making so many good plays back to back to back, looking so strong in this early game. And we're gonna see a drag play after this. Wukong still having that Rift Herald to see a fight bot lane.
Oh, Flash ult's going to come out from Wukong. The feathers are going to end up flying as well, and the root's going to land onto the Rakan. Both members are going to end up falling so far. If you are Glacial, your bot lane is down. Your jungler might be falling here as well. It's going to get stunned. Silas is coming down with the chains. Cataclysm is going to land onto 2 members. Wukong's going to need another knock up there, but it's not really going to do much as TP is forced out of the Ornn, and he ults immediately. But the Mukau headbutts him away, so he can't land the knock up, and Vertigo is going to slay JOONHAHA, but he trades just in time. Silas gets a pick there, but not really looking for much. The dragon, they're too weak to go for the dragon here. K'Sante actually might end up getting caught out here as the chains are going to end up landing. He's trying to dash away. Ghost is going to be committed as well, but he might not be able to get out. Ooh, he might actually look to turn this. The Xayah is there. It's going to end up landing the ultimate onto Silas, looking for another knockup, going to miss the Ornn stun. Root's going to land onto the Ornn as well. He's extremely weak. He's got to play this careful as a nice knockup's going to land, but that's not going to matter. In the meantime, mid lane, that Rift Herald will end up crashing, but nobody else will end up falling. And what was an interesting fight in the bot lane, might not be over just yet. It's definitely over now. Interesting fight in the bot lane really only turns into potentially actually a dragon in favor of Glacial. But we saw what happened last time.
Yep. And we're going to see Alistar coming in with, the Mukau smite that he doesn't have. And trying to maybe contest this, probably not, just because of the fact that the Wukong and the Xayah are backing. They got a pretty good deal out of that whole engage. Xayah now being 3-0, being one of the strongest members in this game, dealing so much damage for the side of Stunned Eclipse. Now let's get back to, we're having some of the first items come out here. Nothing too surprising. Silas going the Everfrost, looking just to, be that lean into that stun locking. We have Xayah going Kraken Slayer, which is pretty normal. Everyone going, pretty much the standard build for what they're trying to do. Both supports definitely going to be going for the Radiant Virtue, the item that I can never remember the name of. And we see an engage here coming up mid lane.
Nice knock up onto the Orianna. Going to end up being Ghost from the Ashe. Rakan's forced to use his ultimate to potentially get out there as 2 headbutts are going to land onto him from this Mukau. Not really going to be able to get a pick there, but yeah. Pretty standard comps as we see. Ooh, maybe Wukong's looking for an invade here. Alistar's coming up as well from Tofu. They might, not looking like they're going to commit to this just yet. As Cyrus roams down to help out his jungler. But yeah, pretty standard from both teams. Interesting to see the Iceborne coming out from K'Sante instead of something like the Jack Show. But it makes sense here when you're going up against very high mobile teams such as the Silas, the Jarvan, and the Rakan. You're able to lock down those members and do a little bit more damage to them. As a nice top lane 1v1 in the bot lane so far. Can't really tell who this is going to go in favor of, or not really looking to turn it just yet. Q3 is going to get unstopped from the Ornn, and Ornn actually might be potentially turning this. Jarvan is roaming down from JOONHAHA, so they could look for an engage on to this K'Sante. Nope, not going to go for the knockup. But Herald, in the meantime, has spawned in the top lane and is looking like Sun does not want to give up this objective. Here comes Rakan and Jarvan. Ornald's going to be committed here as well. It's going to end up landing the knockup. Double knockup under the K'Sante. He's forced to commit his ultimate. The unstop is going to stop the Jarvan from knocking him up, but it's not going to stop the Cataclysm. But if you're Glacial, you trade 1 kill in the bot lane for a Rift Herald.
Yep, that's not going to be just 1 kill. I feel like that's going to be this tower as well. Rift Herald does give a good bit of gold, but that's Rift too. You don't really want to trade that for, that much gold, as they're going to use it to trade for 1 tower. Probably getting another charge here, trying to trade something in the map in exchange for that huge dive onto the K'Sante in the bot lane. Rift coming up.
He's going to land twice.
Yep, going to get a second charge, going to get their money's worth. Maybe even getting this turret here. Ashe Arrow coming in, landing on the Orianna, not really getting much. Probably just looking to peel off for, the kill onto this Rift. Gold advantage going over to Stunned Eclipse for, about 1,000 gold. Losing out on some gold in the top lane, but, really getting that gold back in terms of their ADC being super far ahead, almost at that second item. Once Xayah gets that Novori Quick Blades unlock, it's going to be very tough for the Glacial team to withstand all that damage, especially when she gets her third item online, which, what I'm thinking is she's probably going to go for the LDR third item, just because of how tanky and how much health all of the members of Glacial are going to be running here. Even Silas building a lot of HP and a lot of his items going to be very tanky. The only person that's not going to be really building health is the Ashe.
Interesting flash shockwave coming up from mid cool. I guess he was looking to potentially lock down Silva, but Silva responds to the flash of his own. So I guess you're trading out a mid laner flash for an 80 carry flash, which when it comes to the team fights is going to allow Alphexus and Vertigo to be able to dive this 80 carry and get a little bit of a wink on there. Speaking of dive, might be JOONHAHA looking for something here, but he might get caught out himself actually as KiteAzure is forced to roam up. But in the meantime, that Xayah is in the mid lane. She can come down at any moment, whereas the 80 carry and bot lane from Glacial is not in the vicinity at all. So it's going to go ahead and steal the Mukau ultimate. That's going to be pretty good if he can get a nice engage before this dragon comes down. But yeah, like you said, Xayah almost having her second item online. Speaking of actually, Knockup's going to land. His flash is going to be committed. And this Jarvan might not be able to get away. Ignite's going to be committed there as well, but nothing's going to come out of it as the Ashe arrow goes wide and the Cataclysm lands onto two members. Cyrus is currently going in with Silva, who has the empowered autos as well, and they're potentially turning this in their favor as well. Cyrus going to use that Mukau ultimate, but in the meantime, in the top lane, Leoto gets the solo bolo onto Alphexus, and what a game that looked like was in favor of Stuns for so long is turning in favor of Glacial.
Yeah, after this gets his drag, it's probably going to even out the gold lead pretty much. Something that's interesting there is that the Ornn fighting the K'Sante top lane. Ornn already had 2 items before K'Sante had 1. K'Sante fighting, went down on items, not very good there. And also using their cooldowns very effectively in the mid lane, being able to get a few picks there and even out this game in terms of the gold lead.
I feel like Stun got a little overzealous there. Once they forced the flash out of JOONHAHA in that mid lane push, they could have just committed to the river and gain cryo and get better positioning for a team fight. And that also could have allowed Alphexus to TP in and be a little bit more of help in the team fight, which he's a crucial part of Stun's team fighting composition. So not having him there, I mean, Glacial can afford to have the Ornn gone for a bit because they have the Jarvan and the Rakan, but I don't think that Stun can really afford to fight without their top laner being a distraction. It's a crucial part of their team fight comp. But yeah, I think just a little bit of a misplay there from Stun. They got a lot out they needed out of JOONHAHA. They should have just regrouped and bottled back into the river.
Yep. And something that I like to point out is I feel like Glacial with this vision have been very on lock getting, that. Well, when they had right before that fight, they had very deep wards in the bot side of stunned Eclipse, and they had the Ornn pushing top side. They had wards in the top side as well. They even had their own jungle warded. When there wasn't that much vision on the map for stunned Eclipse, maybe letting Glacial have a little bit of advantage in these fights. But top lane being pushed in, bot lane being pushed in for stunned Eclipse, trying to get some more gold back, some pressure on the map before we might see a early Baron coming out very soon from stunned Eclipse. Not having very much to do on the map, having waves pushed. They're going to have the Ornn and the Silas match these waves here. So we might see a dragon if they spot out the Jarvan over here.
I don't know if you go for it, though, if you're the side of Sun. You realistically only have Xayah damage, which is not going to be that bursty just yet. Orianna has her Landry's online, but I don't think you really go for it. I don't think you can burn it down in time. You need to look to try and play for a pick, which your comp really wants to do. It's looking like they found the pick that they want. It could be onto the Silas. They're posturing for the Baron. I know they want to go for it, but I just don't think they have the burst potential. They also have no vision in this bottom side jungle, and all this time that they're wasting, JOONHAHA is stealing camps left and right, furthering his gold lead to almost over 100k. He already has 2 items. Rakan's going to land a nice knockup, but that's probably not where he wants to end up being. Not going to be able to get CC'd out just yet, but this is looking like Stun. Maybe we want to take this and run with it to the Baron? Not pulling the trigger on anything just yet.
I think they're just going to, meet in the river here, just kind of handshake it a little bit, saying, we might start it.
Cataclysm gets
Engager.
flashed out of both members, and a nice double knockup comes out from Tofu. That's the engage they ended up needing, but it does not matter because the Ash Arrows are just enough kiting on the side of Glacial. But so far, multiple engages already down. The Cataclysm's gone, the Ash Arrow's gone, and so far, Stun only trading out the Alistar ultimate, which is really good if they want to potentially force a team fight here. They've got to play around Alphexus, though. Need to get him in a position where he can TP in and be a backline disruptor.
Yeah, you could say the same thing for Leoto on this Ornn, being very strong, especially with that ultimate. In some of the earlier fights, you had the Alistar kind of disrupting the Ornn, you know, second proc of his ult being the dash. But if he gets this ult off, it could be very bad for this Orianna, not really having, you know, very much options, just having the shield from Seraphs. If they get a good engage with that, it could be a fight ender, landing the Jarvan ult on top of the Ornn ult onto the carries of Stunned Eclipse as they start this Baron.
Yeah, I think it's just a little bit of a bait trying to pull this top side down, but they're not falling for it. They're going for an engage onto the Orianna. The potential win combo so far, Rakan's going to get engaged on as well, but that's actually worse because he can ultimate and get out. This Orianna is going to end up getting caught in the top lane. Cataclysm is going to done as well. She's forced to use the freaking shockwave. Is not going to be able to get out, though. And honestly, if you're stunned, that's not a good trade-off. You tried to engage onto a Rakan that is extremely mobile, and your mid laner was caught out in the top side. It's going to be a free Baron side if you're Glacial.
Yeah, Orianna having the TP online, being able to TP to play after she died if they choose to make a play, trying to bait the Baron a little too hard, leaving the Orianna open without, you know, as much knowledge as they wanted to have with the location of this Jarvan. If you're Orianna there, you don't want to be that pushed up when you don't know where the main engage of the enemy team is. But we're going to see a drag coming up here. We might see a drag fight. I'm assuming that Glacial is just going to take this one and run and put themselves on sole point.
You know, Stun not really in a position to potentially stop this dragon. I mean, now you're in a position, if you're Glacial, that you can give the next dragon if you want to and go for the Baron. Although, Stun might be running to the Baron right now. It's going to be recalls coming out from the side of Glacial, but now that they see the vision on the Baron, it's going to end up canceling that, and they're going to be forced into the river here. Cassante having a nice off angle. It's going to be looking for something. Asher is going to land, and the charm is going to come down on the Alistar. Nice double knock-up is going to come out from the Wukong ultimate. Ornn pops his ultimate. Is it going to land? It's only going to actually knock up the backside. Nice knock-up is going to come down as he's zoning out the Cassante with the Asher. He will end up falling. Cataclysm is going to land onto the two damage dealers of Stun, and they're not going to fall just yet, but Silas is engaging, and so is Jarvan. Nice double knockup from the Ornn ultimate, then dash onto the wall there, and that's a 5-for-1 trade over on the side of Glacial, and this is going to open up the Baron and potentially end the game here soon.
Yep, just like we predicted, these fights are going to go way, way long. Silas healing back his health bar, you know, multiple times in that fight. Very, very good use of the ultimates and just, you know, the overall sustained damage from Glacial slightly coming out on top. I thought it might go the way of Stunned Eclipse having that Xayah online with the Navori and the not Nashers, the Kraken Slayer, but it was not enough to save the team fight, with that being the only person ahead on their team. Ashe is now pretty much almost caught up, if not ahead on gold in front of this Xayah. You know, it's looking a little even, but, you know, if that's the only person that's ahead, you don't want that laner to fall behind. This is looking kind of abysmal for the moment for Stunned Eclipse, being down 5k gold now at 25 minutes. They need a teamfight win to bring this back. They need to collect some of these bounties. They need to start taking some towers, you know, and collecting some of these objective bounties.
Yeah, let's talk about that team fight win a little bit there. The Ornn and Ashe single-handedly, actually, that's only going to be the Wukong clone, but the Ornn and Ashe single-handedly able to just deny the Cassante from being a backline presence. And when you have the Jarvan, Silas, and Rakan, that they could just do whatever they want to the enemy team, Alphexus is not able to do much of anything there. It was actually very hindering to stunned Eclipse's team fight, and he ended up falling first, while Jarvan was able to land a nice Cataclysm onto the damage dealers of Midcool and Gumayushi, so able to get those players zoned off. It's looking like a potential mid siege here. They have a lot of Baron buff, but honestly, Stun might be looking to force this. Night Knockup's going to push into a Wukong ultimate, trying to dash out as the Owen's going to commit to the ultimate. This, but the shutdown's going to come down. He's not going to be able to get out or get any kills. But in the meantime, bot lane is pushed, and it's looking like Glacial wants to push that bot lane as well. Try and get something else out of this Baron while they have their members alive. Gotta be wary of this Ashe, though. And Silas has an Orianna ultimate. They gotta play this a little bit careful. Cataclysm's online as well. Not looking like they want to go for an engage. They're waiting for their wave. Waiting for someone to pull the trigger here. Might be Recall. We've seen him pulling the trigger a lot, but honestly, KiteAzure, he's probably a little trigger happy. He wants to use this Orianna ultimate. Oh, they're going to commit to a recall, though, instead. Not going to be able to get the tower just yet.
Yeah, if you're Glacial, you just kind of want to bleed out your opponents here. No need to go for, that 5-mana engage that might go bad and take a 50-50 play when you're so far ahead. When you're 5k gold plus up, you can just chill and you can maintain that lead while getting a lot of these turrets. As we're going to get caught out again.
I don't know if the TP was the play there. Recon's going to get 2 charms, and this could be a potential peel. The Cataclysm is going to end up getting flashed out, and the Feathers are going to fly and stun 2 members of Glacial. Kazante's going in, trying to potentially trade for something, but Silva gets his pick onto the support. Kazante trades out onto the Ornn as well, but in the meantime, so far the Shockwave not going to get much of anything just yet, as the chains are going to end up landing on a KiteAzure. He has the W to be able to heal off this, but a nice engage from the Wukong. So far, trades back and forth, but Silva's looking to potentially turn this in his favor with his mid laner and jungler, and this mid turret should end up falling along with the inhibitor. And I mean, with these respawn timers, they might be able to just take the game here.
Yeah, I feel like this might be game. They're healthy enough to be able to tank some of these turret shots for the minions. And it looks like that's going to be game 1 for the side of Glacial, taking it away from Stun. Stun looking so good in the first half, dropping it when it came to those later team fights. I feel like Glacial having those, strong wards and, having the knowledge and having the good matchups and being able to take some of these fights, looking really good in match 1 here. But we're going to throw it over to a quick break while we wait for the rest of the teams to regroup and before we get into the next draft. So we will see y'all in a minute.
All these years, centuries, not a soul at my parties. One by one they came, but they never remember. Fiddlesticks has been forgotten once again. He continues. Table set, cutlery, plenty of festivities. All these signs, no one sees that this day is dear to me. One by one they came, but they never remember. I'll make them pay, this is my last lonely birthday. It's time to settle the score. Send out the crows to fetch me their souls. Now they'll never remember, nevermore. Fiddlestick's cries of frustration echo throughout the chamber. To ease his lugubrious demeanor, Fiddlestick sings. Come with me, and you'll see a song of storms is what I sing. But instead of rain, there's crows. Fiddle-dum, fiddle-dee, bring me gifts or it's your sanity. I will drain from thee, drive you mad with fear. One by one they came, but they never remember. I'll make them pay, this is my last lonely birthday. It's time to settle the score. Send out the crows to fetch me their souls. Now they'll never remember, nevermore. A dark wind flows through my veins. If I only had a brain, I could think of ways to explain why I feel so this is my last only birthday. It's time to settle the score. Send out the crows to fetch me their souls. Now they'll never remember, nevermore.
Show me how to play, you're getting better every day. And pentakilling 1v5 isn't hard, it's hard to teach. The 100-acre lane takes down the foes who haven't slain. And as you flash to Shadow Slash, the crowd jumps to their feet. Now dance, Faker, dance, man, he never had a chance. And no one even knew if you'd really need a blue in SK Telecom. Soon we'll drop the bomb. Nice work you did. You're gonna go for kid. With the haunting guys, you still miss demise. Go in style on that rise. Go in style on that rise. Spirit rush away. No one left to slay. See the tears in Ryu's eyes. Make them watch you hoist the prize. Impacts up and top while Pooh and Piglet push down bots. So you're up hunting supports and it's gonna get mean. Azara's in your way and you're about to make a play. And when she wanders off alone, she gets spanked by DFG. Now dance, Faker, dance, man, he never had a chance. And no one even knew if you'd really need a blue. And Banky joins the fray. There is hell to pay. Nice work you did. You're gonna go for kid. Block DCs with the haunting guys. You still miss demise. Go in style on that rise. Go in style on that rise. Spirit rush away. No one left to slay. See the tears in Ryu's eyes. Make them watch you hoist the prize. Now dance, Faker, dance. He never had a chance, and no one even knew if you'd really need a blue. So dance, Faker, dance. They never had a chance. Do you even need a blue? With the haunting guys, you still miss demise. Go in style on that rise. Go in style on that rise. Spirit rush away. No one left to slay. See the tears in Ryu's eyes. Make them watch you hoist the rise. War cries, Keiko must do eyes. Go in style on that rise. Go in style on that rise. Spirit rush away. No one left to slay. See the tears in Ryu's eyes. Make them watch you hoist the prize.
Have you heard the legend of Incaicus Monachus? Legend tells of a myth, of a tale, of a story, fable, narrative, shrouded in darkness. Of a man who with one strike could move a mountain and the heartless.
From the place where shadows lie, from the corner of your eye, you can feel his presence out of nowhere. Listen, ranged melee, tanky, DPS, assassin, mage, tank, support, and jungler, all wrapped up in one defective man. Legend tells of a kick that can break every bone that you own so easily. Rage of the Dragon. TM23. He may be blind, but his senses extend more than you comprehend the impending end. No need for bragging. From the place where shadows lie, from the corner of your eye, you can feel his presence out of nowhere. Listen, ranged melee, tanky, DPS, assassin, mage, tank, support, and jungler, all wrapped up in one defective man. Oh, it's a super effective plan. No, it's no Jackie Chan. Assassin, mage, tank, support, and jungler, all wrapped up in one defective man. Oh, it's a super effective plan. No, he's not Jackie Chan. Out of nowhere, kick in the face, disgrace you and your family and the human race. Wanna join me? Come and play. But I might shoot you in your face. Bombs and bullets will do the trick. What we need here is a little bit of panic. Do you ever wanna catch me? Right now I'm feeling ignored. So can you try a little harder? I'm really getting bored. Come on, shoot faster. Just a little bit of energy, yeah. I wanna try something fun right now. I get some people calling anarchy. Let's blow this city to ashes and see what Bow thinks. It's such pathetic neatness, but not for long, 'cause you'll get cheap.
All right, everybody, welcome back. We have map number 2 draft just about to get ready to go underway. Honestly, an insane map. One could have went either way. You know, maybe some minor mistakes here and there from Stun that caused Glacial to be able to get ahead into the game. But great performance so far coming out from them. I think a little bit unexpected so far. See, our number 1 seed falter just a little bit. Maybe Stun can take map 2 here.
Yeah, well, Cilantro, do not forget, it's not exactly the first half of the game that matters most. It's who wins in the end. Glacial looking very strong during those later on fights as we get started on this draft here very soon. If you were on the side of Stunned Eclipse, if you were their draft coach, if you were there to try to figure out what went wrong and what you would change, what would you say, Cilantro? What do you want to see?
Honestly, nothing in the draft went wrong, in my opinion. I think they drafted a really good team. I think it just came down to the bit of a macro play, a couple of minute mistakes here and there. Just maybe like positioning errors, team fight errors. They couldn't get much out of Alphexus, who was probably one of their primary sources of team fighting. He did end up getting zoned out one of the team fights from the Ash Orn, which ended up faltering. The team fight potential coming out from Stun. So honestly, I don't think it really was a draft error as much as it was just a little bit of maybe communication and strategy error.
Okay, we're going to switch it over to our champ select screen or our overlay for the draft coming up here, as both teams have claimed that they are ready to go. So we should get started here in just a second. Do you feel like we're going to see the same ban phase here, Cilantro?
I mean, Orianna might get banned out, though. Probably not going to leave that on the board if you are Glacial. Or, I mean, Stun probably not going to leave that on the board as Glacial has the blue side advantage here. They can get that B1 Orianna for themselves if they opt to go for it. So, it's going to be probably a little different. Probably going to see Stun ban the Orianna and Jinx here. As Glacial is just opting for the same ban so far right out the gate with the Darius. I'm not expecting too much of a different ban coming out from Glacial. A Stun not wanting to go up against that Jarvan again.
Jarvan, very, very strong. One of the best junglers at pushing that lead. You know, I feel like every time we've seen the Jarvan, he's always like 100 CS up and, you know, has some crazy stat lines, able to get some early leads and snowball that, and, you know, able to clear jungle super well, especially versus, you know, the Wukong there. So we see kind of a similar ban phase. Instead of, you know, one of the bans was stunned, they go for the Jarvan, but you know, we got the Nico, the Shen, just like last game. We're probably going to see the Jinx ban here, or maybe a mid lane ban coming out for Glacial on the blue side.
Honestly, I think you can opt for one of the stronger mid lane bans here because Stun is in a predicament where they either ban the Jinx or they ban Orianna now. So you're going to be thrown into that environment. Yep, the Wukong is going to end up getting banned. Very strong jungler. And Orianna's not actually going to end up getting banned. Nikai's going to get banned. And like I said, that's a B1 pick with the Jinx. Glacial wanting that champion to come to them, so they're not going to end up banning that. But right now, Orianna is still open if Stun does decide to go for that. And they will. They are going to R1 the Orianna. I'm expecting, you know, Rakan's going to be coming out as
that
well.
ball delivery system, you know what I mean?
Essentially. So I'm thinking a more brawly comp is going to be coming out of Glacial with this Jinx. Something like the Rel might come down. Can be a bit of a flex pick, but haven't seen her too much in the jungle out of Glacial. So you can go with the Rel, you can go with the Thresh, Nautilus, something of that regard. Even the Alistar. Alistar would actually be really good here if you're Glacial going up against Orianna Rakan. So that could be a pick of their own. They're going to opt for the Thresh instead, though. And then I think this is where you pick the Maokai or even potentially a Talia jungle. Talia jungle could be pretty strong here as well.
Yeah, I really like the Thresh with that Jinx. He really fits that theme. I feel like we have the protect the president type, you know, just trying to keep this Jinx alive, keep her out of danger. You know, being able to pull anybody on his team out of sticky situations with that lantern, really, really strong. Especially we're strong into this Rakan, where it's hard for Rakan to get onto the Thresh just because of how much CC Thresh has. As we see the Talia coming out, you're right, very strong against this Rakan here.
Now this is a flex pick. It could be in the mid lane, it could be in the jungle, and they're gonna go ahead and opt for this Xayah Rakan. Maybe, you know, Xayah was a little bit ahead last time and not really able to push the lead she had because of the strong sense of tank that they had from Glacial. And I mean, Ashe didn't need to be giga ahead because no matter what, her autos are a form of CC. So she's going to be useful no matter what as we get into the later game. So it's going to be interesting to see how Stun uses this Xayah Rakan to their advantage. Xayah got ahead last time, so it's going to be nice to see an ahead bot lane coming out from Stun once again. Talia, I think, is going to end up. Honestly, I think this is a mid lane pick. I don't think it's a jungle pick just yet because I think if you pick something like the Maokai with these core three, it's going to be looking pretty strong from Glacial.
Yeah, I also really like the Talia here, especially because last week when we watched Glacial versus Cupid Red, we had KiteAzure on this Talia twice and ended up getting the MVP of the match for that. So, looking very, very strong on this Talia mid pick. Still technically a flex pick, but I feel like we're going to see one of those bruisery type junglers, that's really, really strong in the meta right now. Maybe we see the Graves even, but probably unlikely. Definitely probably going to see something more like a Sejuani, Maokai, something of that nature. That's going to be pretty beefy and still deal a pretty decent amount of damage here. As we see, we're waiting on this next pick from Stunned Eclipse. Probably going to be a jungle and leave that top lane to be counter. Never mind.
I was just going to say, you got 4 topside bans right now. Glacial is probably foaming at the mouth to get this Cassante, so that's a really good takeaway from Stun. I mean, multiple Cassante counters already banned here, so Glacial probably really wanting to prio that, but end up going to get taken away from them, so I'm expecting them. Either got to pick a top/jungle here, or they flex them Talia to jungle and they pick a top mid here, and it's looking like Volibear. That's another thing that can be flexed. I think this is going to be Volibear top, though. I don't think this is going to be Volibear jungle. I'm pretty sure last time we casted Glacial eSports, they did pick this Volibear topside. So I think they might actually be opting for something like the Graves here. Maybe even the Wukong, or not the Wukong, the Maokai, which I think would be really strong in the jungle so far. But yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a back and forth top lane battle. Neither one of these are going to get ahead early on. Volibear going to be probably able to do a bit more damage, as they're actually going to opt for the Talia jungle, and that's going to be a Syndra in the mid lane against this Orianna. Very interesting team from Glacial so far.
Yep, coming out of left field a little bit. KiteAzure looking so good on the Talia last week. I thought he's going to pull it again this week, but no. Opting for the Syndra for their team. Maybe, trying to get a little bit better wave clear earlier and not be bullied as much by the Orianna. As we get a Maokai answer for jungle coming out from Stunned Eclipse. Looking at both these teams right now, who are you favoring for team comp-wise, Cilantro?
I once again favor Stunned. Glacial, the Jinx she's a double-edged sword. You get one pick on her, she's got the passive, but then she can just fall extremely fast, especially against Xayah, Rakan, Orianna, and even Cassante. Like, she could just fall extremely fast. The only really form of peel you have is Thresh and Volibear. Talia can help out a little bit, but not as effectively. So I would have wished to see a little bit more something out of the front line and a little bit more lockdown, which is why I was hoping that the Maokai would have came out inside of Glacial. That's able to lock down more members and buy Jinx a little bit more time to get her damage off. But Stun has a really good comp once again. Glacial is going to be spread out a little bit. They have good mobility, but like Syndra, she's going to be not really that much of a threat at this long range. Orianna's going to be able to outrange her. Xayah's going to be able to outrange her. So they're going to have a little bit more poke on the side of Glacial and a little bit more burst with Xayah, Orianna, and, Cassante being a menace. And Glacial, they're going to be potentially looking to probably get a pick and then go in. They don't really want to fight. Syndra does want the enemy team to be on top of them, but honestly, if this Orianna, Rakan, Maokai are on top of you, you're probably already dead.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I really like Stunned Eclipse comp here. I really like the Maokai. Cassante is just really, really strong. Hopefully he can get a lead this time in the top lane. Yeah, I feel like I'm excited to see, especially the Xayah again, going to be pretty good against the Talia, against, the team comp that Glacial is having right now, especially with that Rakan and the bot lane going to be a very strong combo in these early fights. Are you expecting a game 3 here? We've not streamed a game 3 yet, but this is now the quarterfinals. What do you think, Cilantro? Are we going to get a game 3?
Like I said, I favor Stunned Eclipse comp. Just like last game, I favored their comp, and they had an early game lead. Just some minute mistakes that allowed Glacial to come out with an advantage into the later half of the game. I feel like, honestly, this is going to be another game where it's not going to matter what comp you have.
Yeah.
Glacial ended up coming out on top in the last game, towards the later half of the game. And this time, they can come online in the later half of the game once again. So it's going to come down to Stun putting this game away in the early game, and then Glacial playing for their strengths into the later game. So honestly, we could get a map number 3. It's really just going to depend on how each team comes out to play.
Yeah, Glacial, it looks like their team comp, their scaling is very scary. You know, you have the Syndra, the Jinx, the Talia, the Thresh even scales, you know. The only person that doesn't exactly like, scale on this team is the Volibear, but he's going to be useful no matter what because of that huge ultimate, you know, just going to be very tanky. But yeah, I feel like, you know, we're both kind of leaning a little bit towards the Stunned Eclipse comp just because of the fact, you know, it's just everything that it might just be because it's everything we've been seeing out Worlds lately. You know, Rakan Zaya, really strong picks. Oriana, another, you know, one of those champions who has one of the highest pick ban rate at Worlds. So that might be that too. You know, we've been gremlins staying up till 4 a.m. watching all these games, but, you know, super excited. I'm hoping for a game 3 for the quarterfinals here. You know, I'm not like particularly, you know, like impartial to any of these teams. I just really want to see a long, very, very good match here. But while we're waiting for this champ select to get underway, we're going to throw it to a quick break as we wait for the game to get started here.
Wanna join me? Come and play. But I might shoot you in your face. Bombs and bullets will do the trick. What we need here is a little bit of panic. Do you ever wanna catch me? Right now I'm feeling ignored. So can you try a little harder? I'm really getting bored. Come on, shoot faster. Just a little bit of energy, yeah. I wanna try something fun right now. I get some people calling anarchy. Let's blow this city to ashes and see what Valve thinks. It's such pathetic neatness, but not for long, 'cause you'll get cheeked. So much better, so much fun. Let's start from scratch and blow up the sun. Come on, shoot faster. Just a little bit of energy, yeah. I wanna try something fun right now. I get some people calling anarchy. Let's blow this city to ashes and see what Valve thinks. It's such pathetic neatness, but not for long, 'cause you'll get cheap. Show me how to play, you're getting better every day. And pentakilling 1v5 is an art that's hard to teach. reach the 100-acre lane, takes down the foes who haven't slain. And as you flash to shadow slash, the crowd jumps to their feet. Now dance, maker dance, man, he never had a chance. And no one even knew if you'd really need a blue in SK Telecom. Soon we'll drop the bomb. Nice work you did. You're gonna go for kid. With the haunting guys, you still miss their minds. Go in style on that rise, go in style on that rise. Spirit rush away, no one left to slay. See the tears in Ryu's eyes, make them watch you hoist the prize. Impacts up in top while Pooh and Piglet push down bots. So you're up hunting supports and it's gonna get mean. Azara's in your way and you're about to make a play. And when she wanders off alone, she gets spanked by DFG. Now dance, make her dance, man, he never had a chance. And no one even knew if you'd really need a blue. And Banky joins the fray. There is hell to pay. Nice work you did. You're gonna go for kid. Block DC with the haunting guys. You still miss their minds. Go in style on that rise. Go in style on that rise. Spirit rush away. No one left to slay. See the tears in Ryu's eyes. Make them watch you hoist the prize.
All right, everybody, welcome. We have map number 2 just about to get underway here. No matching skins coming out from the Zyracon. Honestly, kind of a Debbie Downer. But they are going to be able to match recalls, so that's a little bit of a, that's a little bit of a plus. We got a Thresh on the side of Glacial. I don't think that they want to go for any kind of invade, though. Stundle, however, might want to go for an invade themselves.
You might see Glacial go for this same play here with going for a little bit of that early vision, possibly on the top side. Maybe not. Maokai probably just going to start these Raptors like just like the standard. Maokai clear, not really needing a leash early on. But yeah, kind of, I like the first thing you point out is the fact that we do not have matching skins coming out from the lovers in the bot lane, but
well, I mean, that's what the audience cares about, if we're being honest.
No, maybe, but we'll see as we see a little bit of trading coming out here top lane, just doing a little pokey pokes,
The Heartsteel skin.
Serious.
Getting a little paranoia, Got a little paranoia going on in the top lane. Rocking the new Heartsteel Cassante. I got my Prestige Yone skin. Pretty happy about that. Going to end up being match clears, though, as both junglers start their respective chicken camps. Looking like Talia wants to path towards her top side, and obviously Vertigo pathing toward the bot lane here. Interesting, because, I mean, both bot lane are going to be a little bit self-standard. They can hold off on their own here. Vertigo, if he can get the Zyracon ahead a little bit, it's going to be devastating to have to lane against. But I like the path out of Talia trying to get Volibear ahead on this Cassante, because they know how annoying Cassante is going to be when it comes to this late game. And if they can get their Volibear ahead, they're going to be looking pretty for the later team fights.
Yeah, Jinx really not like, if you get this Volibear head, it's gonna be so good because Jinx is not really, relying on getting super head to be useful. After she gets a few items online and gets that passive stacking these fights, she's going to be huge in, potentially even game or fight winning with, that passive stacking up to 5 times, being able to get excited there. But Jinx also opting for the Ghost, Xayah also opting for the Ghost as well to match. Pretty standard coming out here. All of our sums pretty much matching, except for Cassante running the Ghost again.
Oh, look at Vertigo. He's looking for a potential level 3 gang so far. Double Knock is going to land the flail. Not going to be able to get him away just yet. Ignite's going to be forced out here as well. And a W is going to be able to root this Jinx. She pops her Ghost, was trying to get out, but is not going to be able to get out in time. That just misses the flash over the wall. And the first split goes in favor of Guma Yushi. Sums coming out from both sides. Guma not forcing his flash just yet, but an insane level 3 gank from the Maokai. We rarely see those happen.
Yep, that was really, really good setup coming out from Stunned Gaming, or Stunned Eclipse. I'm sorry, Stunned Eclipse there, especially with that Maokai gank coming out very strong. Jinx forced to use all of her sums, Thresh using all of his sums. This puts them in a really bad spot for a potential regain here to get some poke out mid. Syndra, going to come on top a little bit in this early game.
JOONHAHA does land the W, forces the flash out of mid cool as well. He's going to have to use recall and use that TP to come in. With the dragon spawning, that's going to be looking in favor of Glacial. Absolutely insane gank that I did not think was going to really matter. Honestly, I thought that mid cool was going to be able to flash away from that, but this does land the W as Taliyah does. I absolutely love seeing Taliyah on the map. I've been playing a ton of Taliyah myself, so love seeing it. As maybe Alphexus looking to do a little bit of wave proxying here and maybe go for a bit of a tower dive.
Yeah, probably not going to be a tower dive. Just trying to put this Volibear in a worse situation. I really do think that the Cassante into the Volibear is going to be a little bit more forgiving for this Cassante of a matchup. Not leaving much options, banning out literally every single top laner on the map, but looking to have a little bit of an easier time versus this Volibear versus going against the Ornn last game, who can just always deny the Q3 from the Cassante with his unstoppable. But yep, nothing of note
point
so
out though
far.
that Alphexus already has the Sheen, so he can essentially fight Volibear realistically whenever he pleases in this top side. And as we go down the list here, Taliyah has a great jungle lead so far on Vertigo, which is honestly not what we were expecting to see. Taliyah not really able to get online until she could potentially get the Lost Chapter. It does help vamp up that jungle clear speed. So interesting to see how they can potentially snowball this jungle lead. In the bot lane, honestly, Xayah has a kill. She's sitting pretty. All she really has to do is farm. She's down a little bit in CS, so the gold does end up evening out. But as long as you don't give Jinx any kills, it's not going to matter in the late game. But right now, we have a Cloud Dragon on the field. I feel like this dragon goes in favor of Stunned Eclipse if they get it.
Yeah, Xayah in this early game state is going to have a lot more wave clearing, going to be able to shove waves into this Jinx, and be able to get lane prio very, very easy. Especially mid lane as well with the Orianna is going to be able to get lane prio very easy. Maokai should just get this really quickly. Taliyah is not really in a spot to match him at the moment. Just clearing some camps in his top side. She does have that CS lead, but Maokai's pretty low econ jungler. He doesn't really need all the CS in the world to still be useful. He's still going to have all the CC in the world. As we see, we might get a match here actually coming up from Taliyah.
Look is going to go wide. Rakan tries to dash away. Scalaly's going to come down as well. And that's going to be a pick over onto KiteAzure in the mid lane. Nice E-timing as Rakan tries to dash to his team to get out. He thought he was safe, but Taliyah makes sure that you are not safe. And that's going to be, you might have gotten the dragon, but you're going to, JOONHAHA is going to end up taking your camps here with the help of SlyLego.
Yeah, that Taliyah is very strong to the Rakan. Rakan kind of stuck in there, not being able to, dash or blink out. As we see, we get the mid cool Orianna ult. Not really getting much there besides some.
Oh, he's got to be careful. The Hex Flash comes down. Flash is going to be forced out of KiteAzure. See if the Wadaka can land from Sly or Tofu, but he's going to get it. And Midcool trades a kill in this mid lane so far.
I thought he was just going for some poke there, but ended up getting the kill onto KiteAzure. Very strong roam coming out from the Rakan. You have to be careful if you're KiteAzure without the flash there. You see another fight in the top lane, kind of just slap fighting a little bit.
Oh, he commits the ult. Leoto wants to fully engage on this. This time, Alf with the Cassante Ghost is going to be able to get out. Oh, the flash Q is going to land a stun, but the E is going to end up going wide, and he does not have enough damage just yet. He only has a Kindle gem. Not going to be able to punish Alf there for staying a little bit too long, but Jinx might get punished here. Their support is not in the lane, but no, just going to be looking like a shove and back. Pretty standard from bot lane.
Cassante TPing back, trying to match that wave there, getting a Kindle Gem of his own. Fight. You would think it'd go in favor of Cassante this early, but the Volibear coming out on top in that fight, now backing, matching the items. They almost down to a T, except for the refill potion instead of the boots. We might see another play from the mid lane here. We have Thresh versus the Maokai. Maokai might go in here.
Yep, Maokai for something. The ultimate's going to be committed as Rakan is going to land a knockup as well. But the Lantern is going to allow Syndra to be able to get out and might actually potentially turn this themselves. Unleashed Power is online, but they're not going to look for a fight any longer. Vertigo moving towards the top side with his Rakan. Cassante has Prio, and Orianna can shove this way. This should be first Rift Herald moving in favor. Is actually going to commit Shockwave. Midcool is going to, and KiteAzure doesn't have the flash, so he's got to be a little bit careful. Midcool can flash this himself, but he actually dodges the Q and is going to unleash power onto Midcool and get the pick himself. This could turn in favor of Glacial. They're looking for more. The hook is going to end up landing onto the Rakan. He's going to dash and miss the knockup. It's going to get flashed out from the Talia, but here comes Volibear. Cassante's going to go unstoppable, but he's ignited. Is not going to be able to heal up. He's going to end up falling. In the meantime, Rift Herald does go over in favor of Vertigo as he is forced to flash over the wall in a team fight that goes in favor of Glacial, but objective goes in favor of Stun Eclipse.
Oh, the humanity. Oh my gosh. The Syndra play there, so perfect. Just barely getting out, even coming back for the objective play as we see Maokai fighting this Talia in the jungle, looking like it's going to just be
Talia, you might have gone a little bit too far. Ignite's going to come down to the Rakan as well as she's ticking away. She might actually do not give the kill to the Cassante. That's not who you want to give it to. Tower shot's going to come and she's actually going to get executed, but the pick goes in favor of Tofu. Honestly, better than dying to the Cassante there.
Yep, Talia getting the best person to probably get that kill onto, Tofu not being, the strongest member of his team, the real carry of last game, but, just playing the Rakan this game. As we see, Orianna might be get caught out as the Thresh misses the flay, unfortunately.
Shockwave's actually going to come down as well. They're looking to commit to this. The Flash is going to come down and miss the Jinx W. She's just autoing. There was an Orianna not really want to be. Midcool's going to slay SlyLego, but that's not really what you want. The trade is going to go over in favor of this Jinx, who's now going to be 1-1, turning the gold lead of this bot lane in her favor. She's going to recall and get her first item, matching this Xayah.
Yeah, I feel like that's not the best play. I feel like Midcool is very, very aggressive on this Orianna pick. As we get a pause out here, Midcool a little too aggressive on the Orianna, trading 1-for-1, giving a kill over to the Jinx. Probably not the best idea because of the fact that Jinx needs gold to get online. She doesn't really need levels. She doesn't need the XP. She doesn't need to get a bunch of kills to get online. But the gold is what matters there. And giving gold over to Jinx is, never a good idea, especially this early on.
Speaking of gold lead and gold, every single lane has a gold advantage for the side of Glacial. You've got a 20 almost plus gold lead in the mid jungle so far from Glacial, which is astronomically huge because this Talia is soon to have first item online before Maokai will, as the pause does come down. And while you have 2 kills on your Orianna, so that does even out the gold a little bit, but you essentially have 3 kills on your Syndra because she has 2 kills and an assist already and a 20 CS gold lead. So you essentially have 3 kills worth of gold in over to your Syndra. So I'm favoring the Syndra right now, who also has the Dark Seal stacks online. And Thresh, well, I mean, support lane gold doesn't matter too much. If this keeps going at the rate it is, Thresh might potentially get item before Tofu does, and that's going to be absolutely crucial when it comes down to team fights.
Yeah, both supports probably going to opt for the same item again this game. That Radiant Virtue just being so strong on supports nowadays, the go-to for most tank / engaged supports, really strong, especially on this Rakan. Having this gold lead on the side of Glacial on everybody on your team is going to be super important for some of these later fights. They're going to get items sooner as we get the TP on mid lane.
Yeah, TP from Leoto. The Rift Herald's going to come down as well. They're looking for potentially something. Nice stun's going to come down, and that is Vertigo getting caught out. But in the meantime, they got the Dragon so far. JOONHAHA getting an Infernal Dragon in the meantime while that Rift Herald was down. Honestly, not going the way stun 1 and 2. They commit the Rift Herald to buy time for them to get the Dragon, but instead they lose their jungler and the Dragon at the same time. But, I mean, Alf can do what he wants in the top lane, so that's a little bit of a plus.
Yep, just getting a single plate on that Cassante for the trade. Interesting we get to see the Stormers come out as we get a fight here.
Rakan's going to commit Ultimate and Ignite to this as the knockup's going to end up landing. Hulk is going to be flailing into the Jinx Chompers. They're trying to burn down this Xayah, but not going to get her just yet. Meanwhile, on the top side, it's looking like a 2v2 so far, turning in favor of Talia. She stuns out Alphexus. Not really a pick going on either team so far as multiple fights have broken out, but not really anything on the map, so neither team wanting to commit to anything just yet.
Yep, Rakan's maybe ganking this Volibear top. We do not know just yet. Mid laners meeting in the bot lane. Bot laners meeting in the mid lane as we get the supports both roaming, getting vision. You know, the normal, support thing. But yeah, not much happening currently. We still have the 2 to 3k gold lead for Glacial here. Looking very, very strong going into this mid game. Looking a bit scary. If you're stunned Eclipse, they need to start getting a lead somewhere here.
Cassante is going to commit ult onto the Volibear. He wants a solo kill or something. Volibear is going to be forced to commit the ultimate and flash as well, but a Q3 from the Cassante. We're going to see if he can land it. Is going to land it with the dash. Committing Ghost to that as well. And insane solo bullet from Alphexus. This is what we were talking about in the draft. You've got to be careful because towards the later half of the game, the Cassante is going to win in the matchup versus the Volibear. Both of them building the same exact path I'm expecting as well, going for that Iceborne Gauntlet. But, I mean, Alphexus just said, hey, you want your item? I'm going to send you to base so you can get it.
Yep, looking very strong here. Alphexus even getting the turret in the top lane. Now a lot of gold ahead of this Volibear. It looks a little bit deceptive, but I believe his turret is a lot healthier. Leoto not getting as much plates. They're going to be almost matching on the items so far. Slight advantage over the Cassante. Scary Rakan play there. Able to just get out, with that W. We are going to see the bot lane meet in the mid lane here. Maybe get an engage, but that Thresh Lantern is such a powerful tool here. Especially in that earlier play with the Syndra looking abysmal, able to lantern her out. Very, very, important plays coming out from SlyLego as we get another fight top lane.
You lost this last time, Leoto. I don't know if you want to go for it again as Maokai is going to commit ultimate, but Scout of the Week is going to come down and buy a little bit of time for KiteAzure. He is going to get queued toward this Orianna who has the shockwave, which I'm assuming she commits to that. Unleashed Power is going to come down as well, and then actually it's the Ignite. Not the Ignite, the Landry's not going to be able to take away mid-cool. He ends up surviving as Talia is going to land a stun with the W on to Alphexus. Looking to potentially take a trade, but Alphexus can 1v2 this, and he is as he slays Leoto. So far in the mid lane, though, looking for an engage, but that's going to end up getting lantern out. Like you mentioned, this Thresh Launcher being absolutely astronomical as Talia, she wants to potentially win this. The empowered Q and the minions are going to do enough damage to get that pick in the top side. Back and forth battle so far, just like game number 1, and it's really hard to see who is coming out on top right now. As one thing I want to point out, look at that Orianna build.
Oh, we might see it here again. Homeboy's taking, the advice, not looking to be the damage for his team. You have enough damage on this Cassante. You have enough damage on your jungle. You have enough damage coming out from the Xayah. You do not need to be the solo queue hero for your team going Crown of the Shattered Queen on this Orianna. Also very, very good against the Syndra, believe it or not. Having to use some of her cooldowns in order to break that bubble around the Orianna in order to get some extra damage onto her. Crown also being very good if you want to be playing aggressive, because you don't have to worry about that initial burst of damage coming up from the enemy team. Looking very strong. Looking to set up for the drag here. Should be spawning any second. We get set up
Look at that Maokai burn, though. Poke is actually going to land onto the Maokai, and he's getting sunned out from the Void Bear as Rakan goes over the wall trying to land some kind of knockup, but nothing's going to come out. And the Lantern is going to pull away this Void Bear, allowing him to solidify just a little bit as a nice engage from JOONHAHA is going to end up trading out for this team. They're going to get 2 picks so far for this side of Glacial. JOONHAHA with a massive flank over to the right side is going to get that pick onto Vertigo, lands the EW combo like we see, and pulling that Maokai away from his team allows for KiteAzure to be able to, land the Scatter of the Week, land the Unleashed Power if he needs to, as he didn't actually end up needing to, is going to allow him to burst down the members of Glacial eSports. He just has free range to do what he pleases.
K'Sante might be in a little bit of trouble here, getting chased down by the Syndra. I was thinking that they're going to send more members, probably just going to try to walk out here as the Jinx gets mid-turret, trading that for the Rift. Really strong fight win again for the side of Glacial, looking very strong in these team fights, getting, the huge engage onto the enemy team. Stunned trying to, extend it a little bit. So we're going to get caught.
Another Q's going to come down. Flashes are nailing left and right. But Talia might be cut out. Is forced to go golden as a nice double flail from the Thresh. Is going to get his pick on a mid cool. And Talia trades out for a pick onto this Rakan. There's Zaya forced to ghost here, but they doesn't know that the Volley Bear is flanking. And the Feathers fly a little bit too late. Forced to commit the flash, but does not have it. For the Super Mega Death Rocket, the slows are coming down. Scatter, he's going to land a double stun, and a double flare comes down as well as K'Sante is coming into the fight, but he's not going to be able to get a single kill as the Jinx passive goes absolutely crazy. And I mean, the Jinx just broke the game.
Yep, getting too many stacks of that passive there, I guess, broke the game. Getting too excited, vibrating yourself out of the game, maybe. We will see, the pause coming out here. But what I want to talk about is that, Glacial has just so much damage on their side, and they're so tanky at the same time. It's very hard to catch out anybody on that side just because of the fact that they have so much peel from the Thresh, from the Syndra, from the Talia, and the Volley Bear stun coming out huge. They have just, everybody on their team has so much CC. Even for both these teams, that's just the meta right now. But Glacial abusing that a little bit better, especially with the Talia being able to push members of stunned Eclipse into her team for these huge stunned combos, especially comboing that with the Syndra. That synergy is just so strong here. But yeah, the Glacial just looking so good in the team fight areas of the game. What do you think is going on here? How, if you were stunned Eclipse, how do you get back into this game?
You can't force team fights right now. You just genuinely can't. You've got a Talia on the side of Glacial that is sitting on a ton of gold, hasn't backed yet, has 8 Dark Seal stacks. The Syndra has 9 Dark Seal stacks. And then you also have to deal with the Jinx. So Volley Bear and Thresh can throw their bodies in while these heavy carries of Glacial just put in absolute menaces of damage. Like I mentioned in the draft, the Syndra wants to fight on top of you, and that's what she's getting. She lands a nice Scatter of the Week that stuns 2 members of Stunned as they were trying to kite away. You just can't fight with this Talia, Jinx, and Syndra right now. It's just too much burst DPS, and honestly, it's Talia and Syndra setting up the plays with Volley Bear engagements, and then Jinx plays Janitor like most 80 carries and takes all the kills at the end and gets that passive online, and just they can snowball that into turrets. They can snowball that into bursting down the K'Sante, which is what happened last time. 3 members were weak, but the K'Sante couldn't get a single pick because he just died too fast.
Yeah, something else I want to highlight here. Look at the CS lead in the jungle. Talia up 100 CS over this Maokai so far in this game at 20 minutes. I said Maokai is a low econ jungler, but I didn't mean he doesn't get any gold. He needs some gold to be able to function. So they almost over 2 items. Maokai just starting his first, or they're starting his.
Oh no! Maokai getting caught out on the vision. Talia putting in the absolute work of burst damage, lands the EW onto Vertigo, and he doesn't even have a chance to live. Oh, Syndra might be caught out here. It's going to flash the Q3. Well, Oriana has Shockwave. She might be looking for something here. Does commit it, but he gets dodged from KiteAzure. And he's looking to go back in now. He doesn't think that they could potentially kill him. Scatter the Week's going to come down and land onto this Orianna. Knows that she doesn't have ult. She's not that much of a threat. In the meantime, Azure, he can TP in, but they're taking the Baron, and Stun does not know this. Another Scout of the Week's going to land, and the Unleashed Power is going to come down as well. Right now, KiteAzure 2v1ing an absolute menace in this bot lane playing the Syndra. Another Q is going to land, and a Scout of the Week's going to come down as well. And this Cassante is getting kited and bursted. Does not have too much mana, so she has to kill him here. Cannot be missing these Qs. Here comes Rakan, has the ultimate, is gonna end up. He pushes them away! KiteAzure, what are you doing? Super Mega Death Rocket's gonna come down as well as another Q ends up landing, and he's burning down these members. Talia's gonna trade out of the Maokai in his own jungle, and here comes Volibear looking to help his mid laner, and they're gonna pick off the Cassante, and Maokai ends up falling. Talia Wall's gonna prevent them from being able to escape. The feathers aren't going to do anything. And oh my god, KiteAzure once again fighting for an MVP this game.
Yep. JOONHAHA coming in there saying, haha, you're stuck between me and a hard place. You know, with that Talia ult, very strong place, especially from KiteAzure. He was just trying to stop backs. He wasn't looking for any kills, but he woke up and chose violence, killing the Orianna and stalling out Alphexus until his team could get there to kill the Cassante and get as many picks as he wants to take over this game pretty much.
Not again. Unleashed Power is online this time. Not going to be able to burst down the Orianna just yet. Rakan does not have ultimate here. As actually looking for something. Maokai ult is committed here as well. It's going to be tanked out from the Thresh. Volibear is forced to use his E-passive, but a nice ultimate for the Thresh is going to come down as Cassante commits his ultimate as well. Looking to potentially kill this support, but the Lantern's going to give him a shield for a brief moment, and that's a double kill for the top laner. Our Sunny Eclipse will give her a potential triple kill as the W is going to land on the Cassante, and she is trying to kite this out. It's going to end up getting a she might be able to trade 1-for-1, but does not. And actually, Tofu stealing that kill. Honestly, Alphexus is probably flaming his support a little bit right now.
Tofu walking in there saying, I am the carry now, getting that kill on the Rakan. A very good play coming out from Alphexus, trying to just take some gold for his team back, getting a couple of picks there. But I feel like this game is just a little too far gone. Glacial's looking so strong. They have taken almost every single turret on the map.
Not again. Flash W is going to come down, and the TP is going to be committed as well from Alphexus. And this is looking like it actually... No, a shutdown. Alphexus gets the shutdown onto the Syndra. That's actually huge for stun, and not much damage on the side of Glacial. Volibear has a nice flank, and Xante's going to be able to dash and save his 80 carry. Shockwave's going to land onto the Talia. He's going to be able to flash that away as Rakan goes in. He's going to land the charm into the Volibear. He's able to use his ultimate to be able to unstop away. Double flare comes out from the Thresh there. He's going to get charmed in the meantime as Xante's looking for another pick as he falls. The Gargoyle is going to come out as Talia gets a kill right there. The empowered Qs is going to be absolutely devastating. Thresh is going to steal the ace. They're not going to be able to get the pentakill. But like I said, this mid laner jungle combo with the Jinx as well, it's dangerous. Talia is dangerous. JOONHAHA is dangerous.
You had us in the first half, not gonna lie. Stun coming out of there, looking so strong. Ended up getting taken down by the jungler of Glacial eSports. JOONHAHA being the ultimate carry of this game again. Maokai in the last 5 minutes has only gotten 20 farm, while the Talia, is now up 100 over 150 CS on the jungle here. 700 gold bounty, 10 stacks on the Medjais, looking so strong here. Stunned Eclipse almost had us, thinking that they're going to make a comeback and getting all these objective bounties. But no, JOONHAHA says, no, not today. We're just going to give you a little false sense of hope and then immediately yank it away.
Oh no, Unleashed Power is going to come into the Rakan. He's going to be able to dash to get a shield. In the meantime, getting absolutely devastated by this Syndra. One thing I want to point out is Alphexus has actually shut down the Syndra as she built the Medjais. So it's going to lose that AP power spike. Not going to be in time to cancel the back just yet. But that does not matter when you have a Talia on your team as well with a Rabadon's power spike here right now. It's going to be devastating, and 10 Medjai stacks. So the AP damage coming out from her is going to be devastating, as we saw in that Dragon team fight. And right now, Glacial, they're looking to potentially end the game. Top inhibitor is going to end up falling. mid inhibitor has fallen. They can go for the bot inhibitor if they ever so choose to. Jinx W is going to end up going wise. Rakan uses his ultimate, but he's going to get pushed away from the scout of the week. Malkaio's going to land on the 3 members. That's a nice knockup, but Volibear uses his ultimate to help out his team. Talia and Thresh are going to get 2 picks so far, and Jinx is going to get another pick with the Volibear onto the Cassante. She's very, very excited. The Rockets are doing a lot of damage, but not the big one, unfortunately. It's going to go wise. She commits flash to get her pick onto the Orianna, and the Nexus turrets will end up falling, and so will Sun Gaming out of our playoff bracket as Glacial Esports will advance to the semifinals next week with a 2-0 victory.
Yep, Stun Gaming looking very, very good there for a second. Almost had us thinking that we're going to go to a game 3. Unfortunately, Glacial taking it back, sweeping the rug out from under them, ending up on, getting that 16k gold lead at the end of that game. Looking so strong. JOONHAHA, definitely the MVP in my mind on that Talia, looking super, super good. I thought KiteAzure looked good on that Talia, but, JOONHAHA said, I can I can play that card too. Any last thoughts for this games here today, Cilantro?
Both teams played really well. Stun Eclipse, you far exceeded our expectations today. Props to you. You came out with a stellar performance early game, both maps. Congratulations to Glacial. We will be seeing you next week in the semifinals, whoever you will be going up against. Just to give a little bit of an update, I believe Cupid Esports Blue and Red have won their game, so they should be advancing to the semifinals as well. That will be going on next week. Let me check real quick, see if we have any other results pouring in. Nope, just Cupid Esports Blue, and I think Cupid Esports Red have won their game as well. So we might have a potential Cupid v Cupid semifinals on stream next week. We don't know who we're streaming just yet, so we'll try and keep you updated through our social medias with that as we learn more information. But congratulations to Glacial Esports Block on your advancement and all the other teams that have advanced to the semifinals today. We're looking for some banger matches next week.
Yeah. What I'm excited for is to see the comeback, the rematch. I want to see Cupid Red face off against Glacial again. I want to see, that comeback story. Both these teams, very, very strong competitive teams. I want to see a game 3 again. I keep saying this every single week since week 3. I wanted a game 3 in our matches that we've streamed, but we've never gotten one. So hopefully next week. We have not heard.
Minis? You're guaranteed a game 3 when we get to the finals because that's a best of 5.
I know. We're gonna have a best of 5 for our finals match, but it is not confirmed yet. I do not believe who Cupid Blue is going to be facing next week, or at least we have not had any updates yet. But we will keep you updated as soon as we figure that out. It's probably, if I were to guess, right, I would say Akuma Blades is probably one of the teams that looks the strongest that's going to be going into the semifinals. But again, not confirmed yet. Oxford versus Akuma coming up. We're going to see the results of that. Very excited. All the teams that are left are just so good. Have all looked great on stream. All very, very competitive. So, anybody at this point who's gone up to here can take this whole series. But anyways, that is it for us. Shout out to Aki. I know your boy Luceris Top was looking for the shout out. And also like to thank, Gooby, Two Moms on production, and everybody here for the Infinity League. We love to see everyone show up for these semifinals and finals. Make sure you let people know. Any last words, Cilantro?
Oh, that's going to do it for us. We hope to see you guys next week for our semifinals, and then the week after for our finals match. So thank you guys for your support, and we will see you next week.
She fell from the stars right into my heart. She took me by surprise. Her hair draped like silk, the power to tilt with passion in her eyes. Sabes muy que te quiero, mi corazón es en fuego. Yo quiero tu beso y abrazo, para ti yo canto. She's an ambient